Yes, I'm definitely ready. Let's get it. You ready?
I am. I'm ready.
So I want to get started. I want to thank everybody for joining us in the chat. You hear my nose. I'm in Bali. The weather is changing here. And you know what? I'm going to just roll with it. I want to start off by saying everything is energy. And every form of energy carries a unique vibration of frequency, even love, right? When love is embraced fully, we have the power to unlock our highest potential and reveal our divine power and purpose. We can also attract abundance, manifest dreams, and connect deeply with others. At the highest vibration of love, we can transcend limitations, inspire profound creativity, and foster healing, unlocking limitless possibilities with ourselves and our world. When a woman is embraced and loved correctly, she radiates divine strength, igniting, inspiring dreams with the unmatched grace. When a man is loved correctly, because we mutual over here, everybody gets loved over here. When a man is loved correctly, he also feels empowered, supported, and secured, which fuels his confidence, drives his personal growth, and strengthens his resilience, leading a more fulfilling and successful life. I wanted to start off by showing the transformative power, what it looks like when you are loved and fully embraced, and it turns into radiance of love, okay? We always want to start off by giving thanks. So I want to take this time out to make sure that we just give thanks. There's so much going on in the world right now. There are so many losses happening. And we want to just take time to remember those who have sacrificed so much for us to be here today and having the opportunity to be here. Okay, that's the type of time we on over here. Are you ready, Miss Cheeta?
I am ready. I am.
I'm sorry if I'm screaming, but you know what? I feel good. I feel good. I woke up feeling good.
Mm.
If you ready and they are ready, then I am definitely ready, and you are live with Sheba. Let's get it, okay? This September is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we are bringing in, and we have brought in, fashion designer, author, creator. She is also a designer, ladies of the luxury press-on nails, Miss Cheeta from ATL. I want to thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be on your podcast, to be able to tell my story. I'm just excited to get this thing rolling. Tell the ladies and the men what's going on.
Oh, you guys, we thank you guys for being here. Like I said, I know it's kind of late on the East Coast and a little bit late on the West Coast. So, you know, technical difficulties, but we gonna rock with it when producing a show like this, because I know that it brings up a triggering in some people who have experienced domestic violence. And so I wanted to make sure that what I put out reflects the type of energy that I want people to receive, because I have a responsibility. I'm sorry for covering my mic, but I have a responsibility about the energy that I put out in the universe. So I wanted to make sure that when we do it, it aligns to healing, you know, and not bringing out that traumatic, but people can use it towards their healing. With that being said, Miss Cheeta, before domestic violence, before all of that happened, I want you to let people know your accolades and what you bring to the table before you've experienced such a traumatic experience.
Okay. Yeah. So before even getting into that relationship that I was in, I had went to school. I was going to Tuskegee University. I was in the Army, a 15 Papa aviation operations specialist. It's just still a lot to even think like, dang, I was in the Army for a little bit.
Okay.
I just did a lot. I danced. I was just like full of life, very over the top. And I mean, I've always still been that way, but before it was like I was just young, free spirited. I had a lot going on. And then, then life kind of started showing me how it is to be grown.
Right. Right.
Then I started going through the transitions.
Okay. I remember being young and saying, I can't wait till I be 18 so I could get out of the house. And we got
Until you
18,
get
it was
there,
like, what just hit me in the
mama,
face, right?
mama, take me back quickly.
Please take me back. Just wanted you to share that because domestic violence can happen to anyone. It doesn't matter, regardless of your status, regardless
Hmm.
of how much money you make, regardless of, any of that. It can happen to each and every one of us. There are so many different signs of domestic violence. It doesn't look just like there's physical. That's when somebody is putting their hands on you. That's the
Yeah,
physical. Emotional, psychological abuse. That's the manipulation, intimidating and threats. The verbal abuse. Somebody calling you out your
work.
name, degrading you. That's another sign. Social isolation, keeping you or telling you that you can't hang out with your friends that you used to be with. Those is hood rats.
Yeah,
All of those things. Yeah, keeping you away from your family and friends, wanting you to their self. Also, sexual abuse, non-consensual. Forcing you my woman, so you gonna give me what I want, when I want, how I want it, even when you don't feel like giving them. That is abuse. Okay.
hmm
And digital and technology abuse, social media abuse,
social
stalking you,
media.
harassing you, also playing with money,
Mm.
playing with money, telling you I'll take the money if
Yeah,
you don't do what I want you to do, closing
using the
bank
money
accounts. All
over
of
your
that
head.
is
Hmm.
signs of abuse. And it just takes me back to a place. I had to stop. I had to stop because it takes me back to a place where I remember, and it wasn't so much of the physical, it was so much
Hmm.
of the verbal. And the
Mm.
verbal was
Yeah,
what
that
I
hurts
think
the
was much
most.
worse than the physical. So
Yeah.
having to endure that, how does a
Hmm.
woman, Miss Cheetah, of your stature, you like you said, you a army vet, you a college graduate. How was a woman of your status? How does something like this happen?
Um, so pretty much when I met my ex, I was in a transition of wanting to stay with my dad. He never got a chance to really raise me. So I
Right,
was in the time where I was like, let me go to Colorado and be with my dad.
right,
And I was already grown, but I got there and then my dad kind of still wanted me to be in a child's place. He didn't want me to work. He got upset with me when I had got my first car, when I kept getting multiple jobs. He was mad. To the point where I had to stay like in an extended stay. And then at that vulnerable time is when I had met my ex.
mm,
Um, and he hit me with, I see all the potential in you. I know you're gonna be amazing talk.
right,
And he got me by just being what I thought was a real man at the
right,
time. And then,
right,
he was a provider. He really used that money thing. He used that money thing like to his advantage. Like he always wanted to say, "Oh, I'm a provider. I'm a provider," but I did not know that that was going to be a weapon towards me
right,
in the future. And then I got comfortable, and by me getting comfortable, he felt like, okay, she ain't going nowhere.
right.
She ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
He had me move back to Atlanta from Colorado, and this Bali weather, I've got the cough.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry, but yeah, it's something. But yeah, so he convinced me to move back to Atlanta to leave Colorado because I was not getting along with my dad.
right,
And then at that time, that's when news was starting to come out. Um, about like my family
right,
dynamic.
right.
And at the time, I just thought that he was just a really good man. And
Okay,
then it didn't take long for the other side to come out.
okay,
Once I moved to Atlanta, once we got a place, and that's when that abuse started.
right. So you
Hmm.
were saying in the beginning, and I can resonate with you because, again, I was in the music industry. If those of you who don't know, I was in the music industry. A young artist, person that I was with, started coming in and starting.
Hmm.
They admire you. They admire you because they see the beauty in you. They see the force to be
Hmm.
reckoned with in you. And so they want to feel, it makes them feel like, okay, let me put some money in her pocket. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Let me
Perhaps.
buy her, some
Right.
gifts. Let me woo her off of her feet, so she can think that I'm the best thing that ever happened. And it's like they come at a time when you least expect it, like
Yeah.
throw you off your game. And so
Mhm.
a lot of us are running from situations. Like you said, you were trying to, your father was wanting to keep you to himself, and he didn't want
Yeah.
you to work, and so you're trying to get out of those situations. So a lot of us are running from one situation, and so easy to fall into the arms of somebody else.
Yeah.
And so these things that may be just little, to bring us in, become, like you said, weapons to keep us, to hold us, and then it turns into
Mhm.
something else.
Right.
So with you, he's seeing that you had a gift of, and I just want you to tell a little bit about your fashion design.
Yeah, so when I met him, at that point I wasn't designing it, but I was like cutting up bras and, making like little stripper outfits for the strip clubs and going and selling them. Because at that time, was freshly out the army. I was kind of had switched my worlds around, so I came from being in the army to being in the strip club. Because I'm from Atlanta, so that's pretty much what everybody
Right.
does. Well, all the beautiful ladies in Atlanta are in the club, and so explaining. So it was just like, I was like, okay, let me start making pieces. And I started drawing, like sketching dresses and stuff. I did not know that I had a designer in me. He kind of seen that and was like,
Okay.
I'm about to buy you your first sewing machine. And that just did it all for me. I'm
Right.
like, oh, he contribute to me being the big designer I am today by, getting my first machine. And, he just made it seem like he was all for me. And
Yeah.
like, I wouldn't have never gotten that type of treatment if I did not meet him.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I mean? And, and like I said, that's where I got comfortable. And at the beginning, there was no violence. It just seemed like he was just such a real man. Like,
Right.
just seemed like he was a provider. And he was just like, men these days don't want to provide for their women.
Right.
So he did all that. And I'm like, okay, I made me a provider. He bought me he bought me my sewing machine. He's actually allowing me to
That's
try to
good.
start a business without having to spend money or having to work. Like got me into a comfortable place for me really to learn, you
Right.
know? And then, like I said, after time, once the success started taking off and I got into my first fashion show, was when the jealousy started coming. He started getting angry.
Mm-hmm.
And then he put his hands on me for the first time, which I should have
Right.
left because it was just traumatic how he put his hands on me off of something he seen on my phone, no communication. He
But,
just hit me.
stop right there,
Uh-huh.
because there was a time, like you said, now you're booming. Now
Hmm.
you're, using from this sewing machine, you are creating and you are becoming, and he's
Yeah.
seeing that. And so at a time that you were blowing up, you were telling me that
Hmm.
business was slowing down for him. He's usually the breadwinner, but now the spotlight is on you.
Right.
And so there becomes a jealousy there. We
And
have so many,
he hated doing what he did. He's a truck driver. And
right,
he always used to say, I hate being on this truck for hours. I ain't got no life. I don't do nothing. He hated it. And then on the other hand, I'm doing something that I love.
right,
Like I love making clothes. Like sitting at the sewing machine for me is like a blessing in so many ways. Like I release so much stress. I calm
right.
down so much. As soon as I start sewing, it's like I go into a
Yeah.
trance. And it's
It's
like, especially
important
like the fashion shows. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like all of that was just amazing for me. And then he's like, he used to make music and be a producer. And he
Right.
like, I can't do what I do, because he
Yeah.
always swore that he can't make the same money unless he in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
unless he on the truck. Like I got to be a truck driver to make this type of money. And like I said, that started getting him to an angry state. And I was the one that was always around him or always talked to him.
Right.
So that was coming off onto me. And then, it put me into a deep depression for years.
Right. So now that, this is happening, he's seeing you're happy, you're doing what you love. She gets to
Hmm.
do what she love, and I gotta work these many hours or whatever, and and it becomes like jealousy. I want to thank everybody in the chat. I do these conversations for the people in the chat that join in that may be experiencing such things as we are talking about.
Mhm.
And like I said, I always want to be in the alignment, and in no way, fashion, or form am I having this conversation to bash anyone. I am
Mhm.
doing this to bring awareness. That's not my move. That's not how I get down. I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable in any kind of way, but
Yeah.
because I feel like even the abuser needs love. Some part in their
Right.
life, they need love. And we have to understand where this stems from. So, having this conversation, again, thank you guys for joining us in the chat. You guys can, get in the chat. We hear, we see the
Yeah.
messages. So, but we were talking about the first time. So, we get into the first time that he put his hands on you. And you said that
Mm.
it was something that he's seen in your phone.
Yeah, so he seen me reach out to my ex. My ex had his mom passed away, and
Okay.
see, he didn't know how close I was with my ex's mom. This is a childhood ex too. This wasn't like a long relationship. This was just me reaching out to give my condolences. But
Right.
my this man seen that in my phone because he used to have a habit of going through my phone.
Right.
I'm not the type to be going through nobody's phone. I have never been like that because I ain't going searching for nothing. But
Right.
he was the type to go through mine. And he said I had a conversation with my ex, not knowing that it was because his mom died, and I was just
Right.
reaching out. But then that next day, when we was on our way to go on our date, I just got hit in the face. Like you got to be imagine driving a car and then getting hit. And I've
Mm.
been through that with a past friend before, so it's like a homegirl where I
Right.
got like I had a jealous friend and she hit me while I was driving, and it was the same thing but with a man, and he actually brought his fist up and hit me in the face, and all I seen was stars, like to the point where I pulled over and that man jumped out the car because I ain't gonna lie, I was trying to hit him with my car at
Right.
first, like oh I know he didn't just hit me because my face I could feel the tingle,
Right.
you hear the little ting in my ear. I'm like, okay, I just got damn near knocked out while I'm driving the car.
He
He
has
wasn't
not
arguing or anything.
communicated why he was upset. He just
I didn't even know he was upset. That was what was so
exactly.
scary.
Mhm.
Yeah, like I didn't even know he was upset. He was just quiet, but I didn't know why. And then just to get hit in your face while you driving was like, what the fuck?
Right.
Like I was still processing it after it happened. And yeah, man, the feeling, like I said, I was still trying to process it.
Okay.
So after I tried to hit him, because I'm a little, anybody that know me know Cheetah Bree is a little racky too. I tried to hit him with my car, and if he kept dodging, I just was like, okay, let me get back on 285 to take my ass home.
Right.
And I went back home, and I guess he called an Uber or Lyft or whatever, and made it back to the house. Now this is where it gets messed up, and I hate to do my mama like this, but my mama is the reason why I stayed with this man, because she got on the phone with me and was like, let him back in. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it. Let him in the house because I had the doors locked. I was like, you're
Mm-mm.
not bringing your ass in here.
Right.
Hell no. Nah. Like, you just not. I'm like, do you see my face? He standing outside the door like,
Right.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I don't know. I was just so angry. Like, he literally crying, apologizing. And I'm just like, nah. But my mom, like her, keep telling me, like, let him in the house. You could forgive him. That's what I feel like if I would have had never did that, it would not have got to being all these years later, and the abuse wouldn't have got so bad. Because once I let him in, he get the kissing like a baby boy scene,
Right.
want to have sex. After you knock a girl in her face, now you want to be all on her and do all these things to her and make her feel good because you feel bad.
Right.
And that was the beginning of the abuse segment, the physical abuse segment. That was the beginning of that.
Now I wanted to touch on a couple of things that you said. You know,
Hmm.
um, family plays a big role. You know, and either they can pour positive into a situation, or they can be a negative and add to what is going on.
Yeah.
And so it's like, do I involve my family or don't I involve my family? Do I go to my family and tell them that, I'm being abused and this is happening? Are they going to be on my side? Are they going to be
Yeah.
on his side? Is
I
there going
was
to
telling
somebody?
everybody. I wanted everybody to know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even let me go ahead and rewind it back. Even his mom, like she would be more upset about me making lives and posting about the
Right.
abuse than being
Exactly.
mad at her son for
Yes.
hitting me. How
Mm-hmm.
do you, why? I just never understood that. Why are you so mad at me for telling the world? I had never got beat by no man before.
Right.
So, and anybody that know me, I'm a very vocal person. I put everybody in my business. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna tell the world. And she was more mad at the fact that I kept making lives and talking about him abusing me than snapping on your son for putting his. Why is you so cool with this man putting his hands on me? I'm 120 something pounds, and
Right.
this man way bigger than me, and you more cool with the fact that he hitting me. Like I just need to accept it, and I need to bow down and allow it. Then saying something to him about putting his hands on me, that let me know that it was something that
It was
she must have had went through,
it's
and
deeper than
because she was young when she had
mhm.
him, like super young.
It's a
So
reflection.
yeah,
A reflection of her. So if you're saying
right,
this about her son, then you're saying it about her. And then
right.
that goes to her teaching and her raising and what
And
your
she used
son seen with
to
you.
hit him. He used to say like she used to get mad, because she was so young. She was a kid having a kid. So
Mm-hmm.
she used to be like, she used to look at me sometimes and punch me in the chest and all this, because I would monitor my dad, and I
Right.
used to be like, all right.
Okay.
Makes sense now on why
Makes
he's so angry.
mhm.
Yeah, and take it on me like that. Yeah, it was
Now
crazy.
that is a big thing. And I'm
Hmm.
glad we got to that place is
Hmm.
because we're like, how does a woman or how does it, even a man, like I said, I'm mutual because men deal with domestic violence as well.
Hmm.
So how do you get to that point where a man gets to that point or a woman gets to that point? Obviously there was something like you said that happened to him, and now he's looking at you,
Right,
and maybe the way that the love was shown to him, the abuse, the things that he went through, the mom telling him, oh, you're just like your dad, oh, this and this and this, and
right.
physically abusing him. Now he is looking at you and thinking, this is the way we do it, this is the way we love.
And that's
And
crazy because I never experienced that growing up.
right,
I ain't never seen my daddy put his hands on my mama ever.
right,
I mean,
right.
I never seen my grandmama get hit. I ain't never seen my aunties get hit. I ain't never seen that. And, I mean, I grew up in Atlanta, so I've done dealt with maybe a little tussling back and forth, maybe a
Right,
grab here and there. But when you ball your fist up and knock
right.
me in the face,
Hmm.
I had never experienced that before. And then by how his mom used to be with me. And then, like I said, at that point, the love was there. And I'm
Right,
not a person to just leave out of something because I be feeling like, I got a crazy side too. So
right,
maybe like this might be a little bit of karma, which is how I was looking at it at first. Like maybe it's some karma back from when I was young with men that I used to talk to, you
hmm,
know what I mean?
hmm,
And I ain't never just knock them in the
right,
face, but I used to be a little disrespectful. And I felt like maybe it was some type of karma that was coming back to me. But like I said, the abuse after that time, the first time, it got worse. And then it got more proactive. And it didn't stop until I started getting to a point where I'm like, we both gonna die today.
right.
We both
Well,
gonna
I
die.
wanted to
Now I'm about
talk.
to put my hands on you and we both gonna be hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about two things. I wanted to go
Hmm.
back because we talked about what that looks like growing up in his mother,
Hmm.
seeing his mother inside of his woman or any
Hmm.
other woman, how they treat women. And then you talked about sexually, how when I always say sex is the most powerful thing that you can do. And people don't
Yeah.
understand that because you become that person. So
Hmm.
even though you just got your ass beat, you know, that I'm sorry, you being the person
The
that
I'm
you
sorry
are,
and the sex
I'm
is usually what
sorry.
saves you.
Right.
Hmm.
And it's like that act makes you forgive things that that maybe this isn't right,
Right,
and that's why it is very careful as young women and men. We have never, and I don't want to blame our parents because it's time. At this point, we have to take responsibility for our own actions. But if you've
right,
never been taught and your parents didn't know the power of sex, then how can they teach you that?
right,
So we're just thinking, okay, yeah, okay, he's sorry, he gave me some good, and that's that. But no, it is
right.
another form of abuse. Another form of manipulation. And I want to fast forward because you started saying, well, maybe it's my karma. And that's what I want to say.
I started
Victims
blaming myself.
often blame themselves. So there's
Yeah,
self blame, there's shame and guilt,
yeah.
normalizing the abuse, low self esteem, and fear of judgment. You don't want anybody to know. With you, that's totally different. With me, I just felt like I'm the oldest, I'm the strongest. Like,
Mm,
what does that look like with me being weak? And already my people told me, don't marry, don't get into that situation. But I did
mm,
it anyway.
mm,
I did it
mm.
anyway. And so for me to say, oh my God, this is happening to me, I felt like that was the worst thing in the world because I didn't want to hear those words, I told you so. So a
Right.
lot of
Mm,
the mental abuse, like I said, I didn't suffer from physical abuse. It was more of the verbal abuse with me, calling me bitches out of my
mm,
name, degrading me, making me feel that was less than. And I'm bringing in
mm.
$10,000 every other day, but I'm still feeling like I'm not appreciated or loved in my home by
Yeah.
the person who should be supporting me. So, um, that's the thing is that,
I got there too. I did get
woo,
there at the end. I got to that moment at the end. Before I decided to, shit, at the beginning of this year, and all of last year, I was in that moment of, like, thinking like I deserve this, or because I was getting cussed out so much by him. It
right,
got to the point where every day he on the truck. You're not even home.
right,
The only time you come home is maybe for a day or so just to come get you some nookie, and then you gone. And then it's like every day he's on the phone with me. He's just
right.
mean and mad. Like, what is you mad at? What am I doing that got you cussing me out so much? And I remember the day when I first asked him, when did you start calling me a bitches? Like, I
Mm,
was like, when did that start? Like,
mm,
it's like as soon as he stopped putting his hands on me, this
right,
that's when the verbal, I mean, it got straightforward.
right.
Like, he started calling me all type of bitches and hoes, started putting me down, basically letting me know, like, he the best thing that happened to me, honey, and you is not gonna be able to make it if you ain't with me. Then
Mm,
he got me to the point where I got suicidal. I started not even wanting to be alive. Like, if this is what I'm about to deal with, why you got me here? Like, because I was going through other family stuff. Like, you know, when the abuse got real bad with me and him, when he started really like getting really abusive, is when I found that I was adopted. And people don't understand when you find out that your parents aren't your parents, and then you're also in a relationship with a man that is like tearing you down every
right.
fucking day. None of my, like, I started realizing, like, ain't nobody about to save me. I ain't got no brothers and
Uh-huh.
people that's gonna protect me. I've had to always be my own protector. I've been like that. That's always been me. I've been tough because ain't nobody ever gonna be tough for me. I have to learn how to be tough myself. And sometimes that can, that could be a bad thing. Like, sometimes I don't want to be like that. And even with the way I maneuver with men now, is because of all the trauma. It's
So then we talk about that, you know, um, the abuse is going on and it's getting worse. And again, I want to say thank you for everybody that is chiming in on the chat. We're talking to Miss Cheeta today about domestic violence awareness and how it happens to us and how we get to this point, even being having all of these accolades under our belt. How do we get to this point where things like this are happening to us and we're falling victim to it and we're staying in it, and
yeah,
it's just crazy. But we were talking about how, it started off okay, you hit me once, you hit me twice, and now it's moving to, an every day or every other day thing when is not feeling good about himself. We started talking about the blaming ourselves,
yeah,
victims blaming themselves, but also in order for you to cope with the pain, now you're feeling like I need to do something to numb myself
yeah.
in order.
I got there. I got there. After the adoption stuff,
Mhm.
um, I got to a point where I was, and a lot of my followers know that I used to go to my fashion shows high as a kite.
Right.
um, and I'm so happy. I'm clean now.
Right.
But there was a moment where I was doing coke, just to be able to do my because I was doing fashion shows a lot, but
Right.
I was depressed and I was lonely. I hated myself, And then he'll tell me stuff like, why don't you just kill yourself? I'm tired of hearing you saying that shit. Or,
Mm-hmm.
man, you this, man. He was, you don't understand, when you are, I was all about him for
Right.
9 years of my life. All about this man. I mean, I wanted to be married. I don't have any kids. I
Right.
went through miscarriages on miscarriages on miscarriages just to feel like now God ain't gonna never give me a child. Like I'm in my 30s and I feel like I ain't gonna get one. I'm
Right.
scared that I ain't gonna get married. Well, I'm more not scared now. I'm accepting of it. But at the
Mm-hmm.
time, I just was doing whatever I could do to deal.
Right.
Yes, I'm definitely ready. Let's get it.
And then maybe something in my mind was telling me he's gonna stop. Like
Right.
maybe he's gonna get scared that I'm gonna really like harm myself or I'm gonna do so much drugs that I overdose. And I thought that he would stop, but it seemed like he wanted me to. It seemed like that man was like he was itching for me to die. He was like, "No, I'm ready to see this girl die." So it felt like like he wanted me to die. Um, he wouldn't let me go. You know, he would not let me go. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's getting me emotional just even thinking about it or talking
Just,
about
you
it a
know
little bit.
what? Just take a break for a minute.
Yeah.
Let's all breathe because I understand exactly what you are saying. And people don't know, if you've never been through it, then you don't understand the pain. The person that
Yeah.
you love that is supposed to be
Yes, I'm definitely ready. Let's get it.